The hour before dawn is a fragile moment. A thick blanket of silence wraps around the quaint village of Plymouth, England, in the year 1620. The cobblestone streets, slick with a light morning dew, glisten faintly in the sliver of moonlight, while the thatched rooftops seem to hold their breath, waiting for the sun's embrace. The air is crisp, carrying the briny scent of the nearby sea, mingled with the faintest waft of wood smoke from a few early risers. In a modest home, tucked away from the bustling port, a young woman named Mary Brewster stirs. The chill of the early morning seeps through the cracks of her wooden walls, and she pulls her woolen blanket tighter around her shoulders. She rises, her feet meeting the cool, rough floorboards with a shiver. Mary has spent the last months preparing for this moment, every task a thread woven into the fabric of her journey. Today, she will board the Mayflower, a ship that will carry her and a handful of others into the unknown. As she dresses, the faint sound of the sea lapping against the shore reaches her ears, a rhythmic whisper that beckons her to the harbor. Outside, the village remains still, save for the occasional crow cawing from a nearby perch. Shadows play tricks in the dim light, and the scent of salt water hangs heavy, promising both adventure and peril. Mary pauses at the window, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. She can see the dark silhouette of the Mayflower anchored in the harbor, its sails furled and waiting like a slumbering giant. The ship, a sturdy vessel measuring over 100 feet in length, has been a beacon of hope for many like her, those seeking a new life in a distant land. The thought fills her with both wonder and fear. A journey across the Atlantic, stretching from this familiar shore to a place unknown. It could take weeks, even months. She remembers the stories of those who have made the voyage before her. Tales of storms that howled like demons, of illness that swept through the cramped quarters like wildfire, and of the brave souls who did not survive. Yet she also holds tightly to dreams of fertile lands and the promise of freedom. As she gathers her few belongings, a simple wooden trunk filled with clothes and a Bible, the first light begins to touch the sky. The horizon, once a deep indigo, now blushes with hints of gold and pink. It is dawn, and with it comes a new day, a new chapter. The village stirs ever so slightly, the sound of a distant rooster crowing breaking the stillness, heralding the arrival of morning. Mary takes a deep breath, the salty air filling her lungs, mingling with the warmth of hope. Today, she will step aboard the Mayflower, leaving behind everything she knows, sailing into the heart of possibility. In the dim light of dawn, long before the sun reveals its face above the horizon, the Brewster household stirs, a delicate symphony of sounds echoing through the small timbered home. The air is cool, carrying with it the crisp scent of moist earth and the lingering aroma of the hearth's dwindling embers. Mary Brewster, cocooned in her woolen blanket, lies still for a moment, letting the sounds of her world seep into her consciousness. The gentle creaking of the floorboards announces the movements of her father, William, as he rises from his bed, his heavy boots thudding softly against the uneven wood. A chill hangs in the air, causing Mary to shiver involuntarily, her breath forming small clouds in the frigid space. In the corner, her younger siblings stir, their soft murmurs blending with the distant cawing of the crows that perch on the fence outside, heralding the new day. The first light of morning begins to seep through the thin window panes, casting a pale glow upon the cluttered room, illuminating the rough-hewn furniture, the simple straw bedding, and the meager belongings that define their lives. Mary stretches her arms, feeling the familiar scratch of the wool against her skin, and rises slowly, her feet meeting the cold floor with a jolt. She slips her toes into her worn slippers, the fabric softened by years of use, and steps toward the hearth where a few embers still glow, waiting to be coaxed back into flame. In the kitchen, the sounds of morning ritual take shape. The rhythmic clinking of metal against wood signals her mother, Elizabeth, as she prepares the day's first meal. The heavy wooden table, scarred by years of use, is laden with a simple breakfast of porridge, steaming softly in a battered iron pot. The scent of the grain, mingling with the faint aroma of honey, wafts through the air. Mary approaches, drawn by the warmth and the comfort it promises, her stomach growling in anticipation. "Good morning, Mary," her mother greets softly, her voice a warm balm against the coolness of the dawn. Elizabeth's hands move deftly, stirring the porridge, the wooden spoon scraping against the bottom of the pot with a familiar sound. "Fetch the milk from the cellar, would you? It's time for breakfast." Mary nods and, with a quick glance at her siblings still bundled in their beds, she makes her way to the cellar door. The coolness of the stone steps sends a shiver down her spine, but the thought of warm porridge and sweet milk urges her forward. She reaches the bottom, where the smell of damp earth and aged wood wraps around her like a cloak. The wooden churn stands in the corner, the remnants of last week's labor still lingering in the air. As she lifts the heavy wooden lid, the coolness of the milk contrasts sharply with the warmth of her hands. She fills a clay pitcher, the smooth surface cool against her skin, and pauses for a moment to listen to the stillness around her. The house above is alive with the soft rustle of waking bodies, and the distant chirping of birds begins to fill the air, a gentle reminder of life outside their walls. Mary ascends the steps, the pitcher heavy in her arms, and rejoins her family at the table, where her father has taken his place, his face illuminated by the flickering light of the fire. He offers a nod of approval, his weathered features softened by the morning glow. The warmth of the hearth wraps around them, mingling with the smell of cooking grain, and a sense of comfort envelops the room. "Thank you, Mary," her mother says, pouring the milk into bowls, the sound of liquid filling the earthenware, a satisfying echo in the quiet morning. "Sit and eat. We have much to do today." The children gather closer, their faces eager with anticipation, eyes gleaming as they dig into their bowls, the porridge steaming and fragrant. The morning passes in a blur of simple tasks, each one a familiar rhythm in the fabric of their lives. Mary helps her mother wash the dishes, the cool water splashing against her hands, leaving them slightly numb but invigorated. The clatter of clay against wood fills the air as they work, punctuated by their laughter and the soft, gentle admonitions of Elizabeth, reminding her children to keep the kitchen tidy. Once the dishes are washed and set to dry, Mary steps outside, the cool air bracing against her cheeks. The world beyond their home is waking up, the sun still hidden but promising warmth. The sounds of nature become a chorus, the rustling of leaves in the breeze, the distant sound of a horse's hooves on the cobbled street, and the occasional call of a neighbor greeting the morning. She walks towards the small garden they have tended. The soil is rich and dark, the scent of earth still fresh from the last rain. Mary kneels, her fingers sinking into the cool, damp ground as she pulls weeds, feeling the texture of life beneath her hands. The sun begins to rise, casting golden light across the garden, and she revels in the warmth that seeps into her bones. As she works, she thinks of the journey ahead, the one that will take her far from this patch of land, this familiar garden. The thought fills her with a mixture of trepidation and excitement. She can almost hear the waves crashing against the hull of the Mayflower, the whispers of the wind promising adventure and uncertainty. Her reverie is broken by the sound of her father's voice, calling her back to the tasks at hand. "Mary, we must prepare for the journey. Fetch your siblings and help gather the supplies." With a determined nod, she rises, brushing the earth from her knees. She gathers her brothers and sisters, their laughter a bright note against the backdrop of morning tasks. Together they move to the small shed, where their belongings are piled in anticipation of their departure, their lives reduced to a few bundles, wrapped tightly and secured for the journey across the vast ocean. As they sort through their possessions, the air is filled with the scents of leather and oil, remnants of tools, and forgotten treasures. Each item carries a story, a memory intertwined with their lives in Plymouth. Mary pauses, her fingers brushing against a small, delicate porcelain figurine, a gift from her mother, once a symbol of comfort and beauty. She holds it tightly, savoring the texture of its surface, knowing it would be one of the few precious items she could take with her. Finally, the morning stretches on, the sun now higher in the sky, casting warm rays that dance across the earth. With their supplies gathered, and their hearts brimming with a mix of hope and anxiety, the family prepares to head to the harbor. Mary glances back at their home, a bittersweet knot forming in her stomach. This house, filled with the laughter and warmth of her family, will soon be just a memory. "Ready, Mary?" her father calls, breaking her reverie. and she nods, swallowing the lump in her throat. She takes a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. The air is alive with possibility, and as they step towards the future, she can feel the weight of the past lifting, replaced by the promise of what lies ahead. With her heart steadying, she walks beside her family, the sun on her back, the path ahead uncertain yet thrilling, like the swell of the sea beneath the bow of the Mayflower, waiting to carry them into the unknown. As dawn breaks over the harbor, a faint golden light spills into the Brewster household. Mary Brewster stands at the threshold of her kitchen, her fingers brushing the cool, worn surface of the table. The air carries a crispness, the scent of wood smoke mingling with the lingering aroma of last night's supper. Outside, the sounds of the waking town begin to stir. Gulls cry overhead, their sharp calls punctuating the stillness, while the distant clinking of metal and the soft rustle of fabric rise from the market square. Today is a day of labor, a day to contribute to the bustling rhythm of Plymouth. With a purposeful stride, Mary steps out of her home and into the cool morning air. The cobblestones beneath her feet are damp from the night's dew, each step releasing a faint, earthy scent. She can hear the chatter of neighbors, their voices a soft hum in the background, as she makes her way toward the market. The square is alive with activity. Merchants stand behind their stalls, their faces bright with anticipation, and the air is thick with the tang of fresh bread, the sweetness of ripe apples, and the sharpness of salted fish. Mary takes a deep breath, allowing the myriad scents to envelop her, the warmth of the sun beginning to chase away the chill. She approaches a stall laden with vegetables, their colors vibrant against the weathered wood. The merchant, a stout man with a bushy beard, greets her with a nod. "Good morning, Mary. Care for some fresh carrots?" he calls out, his voice booming over the chatter of the crowd. The carrots, their orange tops still crisp and green, glisten with moisture. "Yes, please," she replies, her heart lifting at the thought of the soup they will make together as a family. The merchant hands her a bundle, and she exchanges a few coins, their smooth surfaces cool against her palm. The transaction feels like a small anchor in the bustling world, a reminder of the community that surrounds her. With the carrots tucked under her arm, Mary wanders deeper into the market, where the stalls brim with the bounty of the land and sea. She pauses at a booth overflowing with fish, the icy water shimmering in the morning light. The sharp, briny scent of the sea fills her nostrils, and she watches as a fisherman deftly scales a catch, his hands moving with practiced ease. The fish glisten as they bounce against the wooden surface, each one a testament to the labor that brings them to market. Mary's thoughts drift to her father, William Brewster, who often shares stories of the sea, the storms that roll in from the horizon, the thrill of the chase, and the quiet moments under a sky full of stars. She feels a sense of pride swell within her, knowing that their family is part of a larger tapestry woven from the threads of countless lives, fishermen, farmers, traders, each playing a role in this vibrant community. As she continues her stroll, Mary notices a group of women gathered near a stall displaying bolts of fabric. The colors are rich and alluring, deep blues, vibrant reds, and soft pastels. The fabric sways gently in the breeze, its texture inviting to the touch. She approaches, drawn by the laughter and camaraderie shared among the women. They gossip and exchange ideas, their voices a melodic blend that creates a sense of belonging. "Mary, dear, come join us," calls out one of the women, her warm smile inviting. "We were just discussing the new shipment from London. Have you seen the fine wool?" Mary shakes her head, her curiosity piqued. "I haven't, but I would love to see it." She steps closer, feeling the soft fibers glide between her fingers. The wool is light yet sturdy, a promise of warmth for the cold months ahead. The women share their plans for sewing, their hands weaving stories as deftly as they weave fabric. Mary listens intently, imagining the garments that will take shape, each stitch a connection to the hands that crafted it. After some time spent in delightful conversation, Mary bids her friends farewell and heads back toward her own home, her arms laden with the day's treasures. The weight of the carrots and fabric feels reassuring, a tangible reminder of the life they are building here in this new world. As she walks, the sun climbs higher in the sky, casting a golden glow over the bustling market and the people who inhabit it. When she arrives home, the kitchen is filled with the familiar scent of bread baking in the oven. Elizabeth, her mother, is busy kneading dough, the rhythmic thump of her hands echoing in the warm space. The surface of the table is dusted with flour, the air rich with the promise of a hearty meal. Mary sets her purchases down and steps into the comforting warmth of the kitchen, where the sounds of family life envelop her like a soft blanket. "Mary, you're back just in time," Elizabeth exclaims, wiping her hands on her apron. "I was thinking of making a soup with those carrots. Will you help me chop them?" Her voice is filled with love, and Mary's heart swells with contentment. "Yes, I'd love to," Mary replies, pulling a chair closer to the table. She retrieves the carrots from the basket and begins to slice them, the knife gliding smoothly through the crisp flesh. Each cut releases a sharp, sweet aroma that mingles with the smell of bread, creating a symphony of scents that dances through the air. Elizabeth hums a soft tune, the melody intertwining with the sounds of the kitchen, the bubbling pot, the crackling fire, and the distant laughter of her younger siblings playing outside. As they work side by side, Mary feels the warmth of family enveloping her. The kitchen is a sanctuary, a place where love is kneaded into every loaf of bread, where laughter rises like steam from a pot, and where stories are shared over simple meals. She glances at her mother, noticing the way Elizabeth's brow furrows in concentration, the way her lips curl into a smile when she catches Mary's eye. It is in these moments that Mary feels rooted, tethered to the life they are building together. With the carrots chopped and the pot simmering, Elizabeth turns her attention to the fabric Mary has brought home. "What lovely wool! You must show me what you plan to make," she says, her eyes sparkling with interest. Mary shares her ideas, and together they dream of dresses and cloaks, each stitch a testament to their resilience and creativity. The sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows across the kitchen. The sounds of the market fade into the background, replaced by the soft crackle of the fire and the gentle bubbling of the soup. As evening approaches, Mary's heart swells with gratitude. They are more than just survivors in this new world. They are creators, builders of a life full of possibility. As the day winds down, the family gathers around the table, the simple meal served with love and laughter. The soup is warm and hearty, flavored with the sweet carrots and the herbs that Mary had gathered earlier. They share stories of their day, of the market's vibrancy, the new fabric, and the promise of tomorrow. The warmth of their togetherness wraps around them as they eat, each spoonful a reminder of the bonds that hold them close. As the final rays of sunlight slip away, the kitchen is illuminated only by the flickering light of the hearth. Mary feels the weight of the day settle upon her, the laughter, the labor, the love, all intertwining like the threads of the fabric that will become their future. In this moment, surrounded by her family, she knows the journey ahead will be challenging, yet filled with hope. With a contented sigh, Mary takes a deep breath. She leans back in her chair, her heart full, ready to embrace whatever comes next in this vast, uncertain world. As the sun reaches its zenith, casting a warm golden hue over the Mayflower, the air is filled with the rich aroma of stews simmering over the ship's modest hearth. The clatter of wooden utensils and the low murmur of conversation create a symphony of daily life aboard this vessel. Mary Brewster, now settled into her new routine, finds herself in the galley, where the precious cargo of food is prepared with care. Today, the midday meal is a feast, a moment of respite amid the challenges of the journey. A large pot bubbles gently over the flickering flames, releasing steam that carries the savory scent of salted pork and root vegetables. Potatoes, turnips, and carrots, all stored in the hold, have been carefully rationed since departure. Mary watches as the ship's cook, a burly man with a thick beard and soot-stained apron, stirs the pot with a long wooden ladle. His hands move deftly, and the sound of the ladle scraping against the pot mixes with the crackling fire, creating an intimate atmosphere that feels almost sacred. Mary's stomach growls, a reminder of the long hours since breakfast. She glances around the galley, noting the assortment of passengers and crew sharing this meal. The sailors sit at one end, their faces weathered and rough from the salt air and hard labor. They laugh and boast, their camaraderie evident as they pass around a loaf of coarse bread, tearing pieces with their calloused hands. The bread, made from hardtack and flour, is dense but filling, a lifeline during this arduous journey. At the other end of the table, Mary joins her family, her father William and her mother Elizabeth, alongside her younger siblings. They sit closely together, a small island of warmth and belonging amid the varied cast of characters aboard the ship. Today, they are fortunate. The cook has saved a few precious fish caught during a brief calm in the sea, and Mary's heart swells with gratitude as she watches her mother serve the meal. Elizabeth has infused the fish with herbs, filling the air with a fragrant mix of thyme and parsley. "Here you go, Mary," her mother says softly, placing a steaming plate in front of her. The fish is flaky and tender, the kind of meal that feels like a blessing in such hard times. Mary's fingers brush the warm plate, and for a moment she closes her eyes, savoring the scents wafting up to her. Around her, her siblings chatter excitedly, their laughter ringing like music in the confined space, a stark contrast to the uncertainty that lies beyond the ship's wooden walls. As the family begins to eat, Mary takes a moment to observe the others around them. She notices a group of wealthier passengers sitting a few tables away, their plates filled with richer fare, a roast fowl, fruits preserved in sugar, and even a small wheel of cheese. They speak in hushed tones, their conversations punctuated by the occasional glance toward the crew, who, despite their labor, seem to be enjoying the rare moment of leisure. It is a subtle reminder of the class distinctions that endure, even in such confined quarters. "Do you think they will share?" one of her younger siblings whispers, eyes wide with longing as he watches the lavish spread. Mary shakes her head, a knowing smile creeping onto her lips. "They rarely do. But we have our own feast, do we not?" She gestures to their humble meal, filled with love and care. Her brother nods, though the disappointment lingers in his gaze. As they continue to eat, the sounds of the ship become more pronounced. The creaking of the wood, the gentle lapping of waves against the hull, and the distant calls of seagulls overhead. Mary takes a bite of the fish, and the flavors burst in her mouth, a simple yet exquisite taste of the sea, mingling with the warmth of her family around her. She feels a swell of contentment, a fleeting moment of normalcy amid the uncertainty of their voyage. "Let us remember," William says, his voice steady and warm, "that every meal we share is a gift. It binds us together, strengthens our resolve." His words hang in the air, resonating with a truth that feels essential in this moment. The family nods, understanding that food is not merely sustenance. It is a ritual, a way to fortify their spirits against the trials they face. After the meal, as the plates are cleared, Mary helps her mother wash the dishes, the cool water a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the meal. She scrubs the plates with a rough cloth, the surface still warm from the food. As she works, her thoughts drift to the vast ocean surrounding them. It is both a haven and a harbinger of uncertainty. Once the dishes are clean, Mary steps out onto the deck, where the sun warms her face. The vastness of the Atlantic stretches before her, an endless expanse of blue shimmering under the midday sun. The wind tangles her hair, carrying with it the scent of salt and adventure. She watches the waves dance and crash against the ship's side, a reminder of the journey still ahead. Nearby, a small group of children play, their laughter echoing across the deck. They toss a small leather ball back and forth, their joy infectious. Mary smiles at the sight, her heart swelling with the hope that these children will one day tell tales of their journey to the new world. She joins in their play, the ball feeling soft and worn in her hands, a welcome distraction from the seriousness that often weighs on her mind. As the afternoon rolls on, the crew begins to prepare for the evening meal, a task that seems to bring them together in shared purpose. Mary watches as they haul in provisions from the hold, their bodies moving rhythmically as they work. The camaraderie among them is palpable, a bond forged through shared hardship and labor. With the sun dipping low in the sky, the air begins to cool, and the smell of the evening meal wafts through the ship once more. This time, it's a simple porridge, perhaps enhanced with a few remnants of dried fruit, a stark contrast to the midday feast. Mary settles down with her family once more, the familiar warmth of their togetherness surrounding her like a comforting blanket. As they eat, the conversation flows easily, stories shared between bites of the warm porridge. Mary's father recounts tales of their homeland, of the fields and the forests they left behind. Each word is imbued with nostalgia, yet it is also a reminder of the future they are forging together. The meal quiets as darkness falls, the only sounds now the gentle lapping of the waves and the soft voices of her family. Mary leans back, content. She feels the weight of their journey, but also the strength of their togetherness. The food may be simple, but it nourishes more than their bodies. It nourishes their spirits, their hopes, and their dreams of what lies ahead. As the last of the porridge disappears, Mary looks around at her family, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the lanterns hanging overhead. She feels a deep sense of gratitude for this moment, this meal, and the bond they share. With a heart full of hope, she takes a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges the morrow may bring. The afternoon sun casts a golden hue over the deck of the Mayflower, the gentle rocking of the ship creating a rhythm that lulls the weary travelers into a gentle camaraderie. With the salty air filling their lungs, the passengers gather in clusters, their voices mingling like a tapestry of sound woven together by hope and uncertainty. Mary Brewster stands near the ship's rail, listening intently to the gossip that dances through the air, a mix of excitement, fear, and shared dreams. Near her, a group of women, their skirts billowing with the wind, huddle together, their faces animated as they share stories about the land that awaits them. "They say it's a land of plenty," one woman exclaims, her voice rising above the creaking wood of the ship. "A place where the fields are rich and the rivers are filled with fish." The scent of the ocean mingles with the faint whiff of dried fish, a reminder of their rations, yet the prospect of lush land stirs a warmth in their hearts. Mary glances at the horizon where the sun dips low, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It is a sight that stirs something deep within her. She imagines the new world, vibrant, untamed, and full of promise. The thoughts of home linger like shadows, but she pushes them aside, focusing instead on the murmurs of the women. They speak of their children, the trials of travel, and the faith that binds them. "Have you heard?" whispers one of the women, a flicker of intrigue in her eyes. "They say the preacher from Leyden will be leading a service tomorrow." The mention of religion draws Mary closer, her heart quickening at the thought of gathering together in prayer. It is a familiar comfort, one she has sought in the quiet moments of her life back in Plymouth. "A chance to give thanks for our safe passage," another woman adds, her voice soft but firm, echoing Mary's own sentiments. As the deck fills with more passengers, the conversations shift to politics, discussions of the crown, of the laws that bind them, and the freedom they seek. A stout merchant named Mr. Carver, known for his booming voice, stands at the center of a small crowd, his hands gesturing emphatically. "We're not just seeking a new home," he declares. "We're forging a new destiny." The words resonate among the men, some nodding in agreement, while others murmur their concerns. The air thickens with a sense of shared purpose, yet beneath the bravado lies a current of uncertainty. Mary listens, captivated by the fervor. The ship feels like a microcosm of the world they left behind, a fragile community built on the dreams of many. She catches snippets of conversations, men discussing land grants and the opportunities that await them, women sharing tales of their own journeys, the laughter mingling with the breeze, creating a symphony of human experience. The ship sways gently beneath their feet, and Mary closes her eyes for a moment, imagining the temple they will build, a place of worship where they can gather, united in their faith. The thought brings a smile to her lips, a small flicker of joy amid the uncertainty that surrounds them. She can envision the wooden beams, the sound of hymns rising to the heavens, filling the air with hope. As the sun dips lower, casting long shadows over the deck, a group of men gathers around a barrel, the crew's cook pouring a small measure of ale for each of them. The laughter that erupts is warm and hearty, a momentary escape from the reality of their situation. "To our new lives," one man toasts, raising his cup high, and the others echo his sentiment, a collective cheer that rises into the evening air. Mary chuckles softly at their merriment, the sound of their laughter mingling with the creaking of the ship. She catches a glimpse of her father, William Brewster, engaged in animated conversation with a fellow traveler, his brow furrowed in concentration. The two men speak of the trials ahead, of the challenges that await them in the new world. But there is a light in William's eyes, a spark of hope that Mary holds close to her heart. The communal spirit aboard the Mayflower continues to flourish as they share their dreams and fears, weaving their lives together in this floating sanctuary. The well-worn planks beneath their feet seem to absorb their stories, the ship becoming a vessel not merely of wood and sails, but of shared humanity, a place where every voice matters. As the sun sinks beneath the horizon, the sky transforms into a tapestry of stars, twinkling like distant lanterns guiding them onward. The air grows cooler, and the sounds of chatter begin to soften, replaced by the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. Mary finds herself standing at the edge of the deck, breathing in the night air, feeling the weight of the day settle within her. Tomorrow, she whispers to herself, we will pray together. The thought brings her peace, a reminder that no matter the hardships they face, they will not be alone. The bonds forged here will carry them through the trials of the unknown, and together they will find strength in their faith and in one another. As she turns to make her way back to her family, she hears a voice call out, a soft melody against the backdrop of the night. It is the ship's cook, a jolly man with a hearty laugh, and he begins to sing a tune that resonates with the hopes of all aboard. The notes dance through the air, wrapping around them like a warm blanket, comforting and familiar. Come gather round, ye weary souls, he sings, his voice rising and falling like the waves. For we are bound for lands untold, where dreams and hopes will soon unfold. Mary pauses, her heart swelling with the sense of unity that the song brings. It is in moments like these she realizes that the true essence of their journey shines through. The strength of community, the power of shared dreams, and the beauty of faith that holds them together. As the last notes fade into the night, the passengers find comfort in one another's company, the warmth of their bodies a balm against the chill of the ocean air. They settle into the rhythm of the ship, lulled by the sounds of the sea, the laughter of friends, and the promise of tomorrow. In the soft glow of lantern light, the Mayflower sails on, its bow cutting through the waves, carrying the hopes and dreams of those aboard, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as Mary closes her eyes, letting the sound of the sea cradle her into slumber, she knows that whatever awaits them in the Americas, they will face it together, as one. As twilight cloaks the Mayflower, the gentle rocking of the ship lulls the weary travelers into a serene rhythm. The sun dips low on the horizon, casting a warm golden hue over the deck, where shadows stretch and mingle with the fading light. The sounds of the sea, a soft whispering, intertwine with the distant murmur of voices as families gather for the evening meal. Mary Brewster, now accustomed to the sway of the ship beneath her feet, feels a sense of belonging amidst the chaos of the day. In the small cabin shared with her family, the flicker of candlelight dances on the rough-hewn walls, casting playful shadows that seem to come alive. The scent of salted fish lingers in the air, mingling with the sharp aroma of herbs collected earlier from the ship's meager provisions. Mary's mother, Elizabeth, carefully sets the wooden table, her hands moving with practiced grace. Each dish, though simple, boiled fish, coarse bread, and a thin broth, bears the mark of love and labor, a testament to their shared struggle. As they gather around the table, the soft clinking of wooden bowls breaks the stillness. William, Mary's father, lifts his head, his eyes glinting with pride as he surveys his family. "Let us give thanks," he says, his voice steady and warm, echoing the rhythm of their shared faith and hope. They bow their heads, the flickering light illuminating their faces, each a portrait of resilience and tenderness. In the hush that follows, the world outside fades, leaving only the collective heartbeat of the family, the murmuring waves, and the distant call of seabirds settling for the night. After the prayer, they share small anecdotes from the day, laughter mingling with the salt air. Mary's younger siblings, their eyes wide with wonder, recount tales of clouds that resembled great beasts, and the occasional glimpse of dolphins that danced alongside the ship. The camaraderie of the moment provides warmth that rivals the flickering candlelight, wrapping around them like a comforting blanket against the chill of the approaching night. With the meal concluded, the family takes turns washing the dishes, a chore made lighter by the shared smiles and teasing banter. Mary's hands, now accustomed to the coolness of the sea, scrubbed the remnants of their modest feast, feeling the grit of the wooden bowl beneath her fingertips. The water, though brackish, flows freely, a precious resource that must be conserved yet cherished. As she rinses the last bowl, the sound of water splashing contrasts with the low hum of conversation around her. Once the dishes are stowed away, the family gathers in a small circle upon the deck, the sky now a deep indigo, speckled with glimmering stars. The air is crisp, carrying the salty tang of the ocean and the faint scent of smoke from the ship's small cooking fire. They sit closely together, sharing stories of their hopes for the new world, their voices soft but filled with determination. William speaks of the fertile lands they hope to cultivate, his hands gesturing toward the vast, unseen shores of America. Imagine the fields of grain, the orchards of apples, he paints, his voice a soothing balm against the uncertainty that looms. Mary closes her eyes for a moment, envisioning the possibilities, the sun-kissed fields, and the laughter of children playing in the grass. As the stars twinkle above, casting their celestial glow, the family's moment of reverie is interrupted by the sound of the ship creaking gently, a reminder of its steadfastness on the open sea. Elizabeth gathers her children close, her voice a whisper. It is time to prepare for rest. The rituals of nightfall settle around them like a familiar song, each note a part of their daily life, now entwined with the adventure of the unknown. Inside their cabin, they lock the door with a heavy wooden bolt, a small act of security that offers comfort amidst the vastness of the ocean. The soft rustle of blankets fills the small space as they each find their place for the night. Mary can hear the rhythmic breathing of her siblings as they nestle into their shared space, the warmth of their bodies creating a cocoon against the coolness of the evening. Mary, however, lingers a moment longer, the weight of the day still resting on her shoulders. She steals a glance toward the cabin's small window, where the night sky looms vast and endless, a tapestry of shimmering stars. Each one seems to whisper promises of new beginnings, and she wonders what the morrow will bring. She feels a mix of trepidation and excitement, a tumultuous dance of emotions that swirls within her like the waves outside. As she wraps herself in her thin blanket, the fabric rough against her skin, Mary takes a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling the mingled scents of salt wood and the faintest hint of smoke from the ship's hearth. The air feels charged with possibility, bringing with it the promise of uncharted lands and new adventures. She closes her eyes, allowing the darkness to envelop her, the gentle sway of the ship rocking her into a tranquil state. Outside, the night deepens, and the sound of the sea whispers secrets to the stars. The crew, too, prepares for the night, their voices muted as they share the camaraderie of shared labor. The creak of the ship becomes a lullaby, lulling everyone into a peaceful surrender to sleep. Mary, nestled among her family, feels the security of their closeness, the love that binds them stronger than the waves that crash against the hull. As she drifts off, thoughts of Plymouth fade, replaced by visions of the new life awaiting them. A life filled with hope, hardship, and the promise of freedom. The rhythmic sound of the ocean becomes a heartbeat, steady and reassuring, guiding her into the realm of dreams. In this moment, as the Mayflower sails through the dark expanse of the Atlantic, Mary Brewster finds solace in the rituals of nightfall. The warmth of her family, the flickering candlelight, and the sound of the sea all harmonize into a symphony of comfort and love. She closes her eyes, the weight of the day lifting, surrendering to the vast, uncharted world that awaits. The Mayflower swayed gently upon the dark waters of Plymouth Harbor, the evening casting a soft veil over the scene. The sky, a tapestry of deep indigo and shimmering stars, whispered secrets of the vast ocean beyond. For many aboard, this was the last night they would spend in familiar company, the last breath of the old world before surrendering to the unknown. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the last remnants of light faded, replaced by the flickering glow of lanterns held by the few who remained awake. The air was filled with the crisp scent of salt, mingling with the earthy aroma of damp wood, as the ship creaked and groaned like a restless giant preparing for slumber. An occasional splash echoed as a school of fish danced beneath the waves, their movements stirring the water into soft ripples that glimmered under the moonlight. Mary Brewster stood at the railing, her heart a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The evening chill brushed against her cheeks, the coolness a reminder of the journey ahead. She wrapped her arms tightly around herself, feeling the coarse fabric of her shawl, its fibers rough yet comforting. Below, the murmur of voices floated up from the ship's hold, where families huddled close, sharing stories and dreams while the darkness enveloped them. The quiet of night had a way of deepening emotions, drawing out the fears and hopes that had been tucked away during the hustle of the day. "Are you cold, Mary?" a soft voice asked behind her. Elizabeth, her younger sister, had joined her eyes wide with wonder as they both gazed out at the vastness before them. The stars above twinkled like diamonds, each one a distant world filled with possibilities. "A little," Mary replied, forcing a smile. "But it's beautiful, isn't it?" Elizabeth nodded, her gaze still fixed on the sky. "Do you think we'll see the stars like this in the New World?" "Perhaps even brighter," Mary mused, taking a deep breath, filling her lungs with the salty air. "We'll be far away from here, starting anew." The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Behind them, the ship's cook was stoking the fire in the tiny galley, the faint crackling of wood mixing with the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. The smell of smoke and burnt fish lingered in the air, a reminder of the meager rations they had grown accustomed to. As the night deepened, shadows twisted and turned, creating shapes that danced along the ship's surfaces. A sailor could be heard singing softly, his voice a haunting melody that drifted across the water, blending with the sounds of the night. The occasional flap of canvas as the sails shifted in the cool breeze made a comforting rhythm, lulling the weary into a state of tranquility. Mary's thoughts drifted to the family they were leaving behind. She imagined her father, William Brewster, perhaps quietly praying for their safety, his brow furrowed in concern. The image of her mother, Elizabeth, bustling about the kitchen, fussing over the last supper they had shared, filled her heart with warmth. Would they be able to weather the storms of the Atlantic? Would they find the fertile land her father had spoken of? "Mary?" Elizabeth's voice broke through her reverie. "What if we don't find the new home they promised us?" Mary knelt beside her sister, the wooden deck cool beneath her knees. She took Elizabeth's hands in hers, their fingers entwined. "We will find it. We have each other, and we have hope." "But what if something happens to us?" Elizabeth's voice trembled slightly, her innocence shining through the veil of uncertainty. The wind whispered through the rigging, carrying her fears away into the night. "Then we will face it together," Mary assured her, her tone steadfast. "No matter what awaits us, we are stronger than we know." Above them, the stars continued their silent vigil, twinkling down as if to reassure them of their journey ahead. Time slipped into a gentle lull, and the ship, like a cradle, rocked them softly. As the night wore on, the sounds of the harbor began to fade, the world settling into a deep slumber. The creaking of the ship became a soothing lullaby, a reminder of the many souls aboard, each with their own dreams and aspirations. The ship's officers walked the deck, their footsteps muffled against the aged wood, while the faint scent of tar and salt mingled in the air, grounding them in this moment. Some of the wealthier passengers had retired to their cabins, the soft thud of doors closing echoing through the stillness. Mary could hear the hushed tones of conversations drifting up from below deck, where families huddled together, sharing whispered hopes under the watchful eyes of the night. There was warmth in their voices, a shared understanding of the journey they were embarking upon. Yet in contrast, the sailors remained vigilant, their eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. The Atlantic was known for its tempests, and even on this calm night, the potential for storms loomed like a silent predator. Mary could see a few of them clustered near the stern, their silhouettes outlined against the glow of a lantern, their faces etched with determination. "Do you think the sailors ever get scared?" Elizabeth wondered aloud, breaking the reverie of silence. "Perhaps," Mary replied thoughtfully. "But they know how to navigate the waters. They faced storms and survived." The wind picked up slightly, rustling the sails as if affirming her words. Mary closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the gentle breeze against her skin, imagining the waves crashing against the bow as they sailed bravely into the unknown. "Do you think we'll see the land tomorrow?" Elizabeth asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mary opened her eyes, staring out into the darkness. "I hope so, but it will take time. We must be patient." Patience. The word hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their shared anticipation. The gentle rocking of the ship was lulling, and Mary felt her eyelids grow heavy, the exhaustion of the day finally catching up with her. As the shadows deepened, the world around them grew quieter. The sounds of the harbor faded into the background, replaced by the rhythmic pulse of the ocean. The stars twinkled like distant lanterns, guiding them forward into the mystery of the night. "Let's go below," Mary suggested, knowing her sister would soon succumb to sleep. With one last glance at the shimmering expanse before them, Mary took Elizabeth's hand and led her back toward the hold, the warmth of their shared connection a comfort against the chill of night. As they descended into the dimly lit quarters, the soft murmur of voices embraced them, a cocoon of warmth amidst the uncertainty. The air was filled with the rich scent of the shared meal they had consumed, mingling with the faint smell of sweat and salt from the long day. Mary settled next to her family, feeling the gentle rise and fall of their breaths, the warmth of bodies close together. In this moment, she felt a deep sense of belonging, a shared commitment to the journey ahead. The sound of the ocean lapping against the ship's hull became a lullaby, a reminder that they were cradled in the arms of the sea. As sleep began to weave its gentle fingers around her heart, Mary felt the weight of the day slip away. The dreams of a new home, of fertile land and freedom, wrapped around her like a warm blanket, pulling her deeper into the embrace of night. And as the Mayflower rocked on the waves, Mary Brewster closed her eyes, surrendering to the rhythm of the ocean, her spirit entwined with the hopes of those around her, ready for whatever lay beyond the horizon. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the restless waves, the journey of the Mayflower transformed into a tapestry of countless stories woven together by hopes and fears. Each soul on board carried with them the weight of dreams, dreams of new beginnings, of fertile lands, and of freedom from the chains of the past. The air, thick with salt and the faint scent of fish, mingled with the whispers of distant shores, beckoning them toward the unknown. Life aboard the ship was a curious blend of camaraderie and solitude. The creaking of the wooden planks underfoot, the rhythmic splashing of the waves, and the distant calls of seabirds formed a symphony of the sea. It was a world where the boundaries between father and son, mother and daughter, blurred into one shared experience. They were all travelers now, united by a collective longing for a better life. Yet, the journey was fraught with difficulties. Cramped quarters